poor single dad saw mom and twins begging for food on Christmas Eve. The truth left him stunned. Snow fell softly on the empty streets as Christmas lights flickered in the distance. Inside his old pickup truck, a tired single father sat in silence, gripping the steering wheel with trembling hands. He had just finished his last delivery shift of the year. 12 hours straight. And still didn't have enough to buy a proper Christmas dinner for his little daughter waiting at home. He sighed, rubbing his eyes. "Maybe next year will be better," he whispered, forcing a weak smile before starting the engine. As he drove past a small convenience store, something caught his eye. A woman, thin and shivering, standing under the flickering streetlight. Beside her were two small children, maybe 5 or 6 years old, holding a cardboard sign that read, "Hungry. Please help." He slowed down instinctively. It was freezing outside. No one should be out there with kids in this weather. But part of him hesitated. He barely had enough to take care of his own. Still, his heart wouldn't let him drive away. He parked nearby and stepped out, his breath forming clouds in the cold air. "Mom," he said softly, "you can't stay out here with kids. It's too cold." The woman looked up, startled. Her eyes were tired but kind. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "We just didn't have anywhere else to go. I lost my job last month. I tried every shelter, but they're full." The little twins clung to her coat, their faces red from the cold. One of them was holding an empty plastic cup. The man's chest tightened. He thought of his daughter waiting at home. Warm, safe, because he'd at least managed to keep a roof over her head. Without saying another word, he reached into his pocket, pulled out the few bills he had left, and handed them to her. He said, "Get some food for the kids." The woman's eyes filled with tears. "No sir, please. You look like you need it more than us." He smiled faintly. "We'll be okay. Merry Christmas." He turned to leave, but then one of the twins tugged his sleeve. "Mister," the little boy said shyly, "you dropped this." The child handed him a small, worn photo, one that must have fallen from his wallet. The man froze when he looked at it. It was an old family picture, him, his ex-wife, and their newborn baby. His throat went dry. He looked back at the woman. Her face was pale now, eyes wide in disbelief. It was her, his ex-wife. The woman he hadn't seen in over 6 years. The woman who had disappeared one night, leaving nothing but a note that said, "I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore." The twins, he looked at them again. The same hazel eyes, the same little dimple his daughter had. His heart pounded. She started crying. "I didn't know how to face you," she whispered. "I made terrible mistakes. I thought I'd ruined your life. I didn't want to be a burden." He stood there in stunned silence, memories flashing through his mind. The nights he'd searched for her, the anger, the heartbreak, and the endless questions. But now, all he saw was fear and hunger, and 2 innocent kids staring up at him. He took a slow breath, fighting the storm inside him. Then, quietly, he said, "Come on. Let's get you all warm." She looked at him, eyes trembling. "You don't have to." "I know," he said softly. "But it's Christmas." And for the first time in years, the broken pieces of 2 lives began to find their way back together. Not through words, but through a simple act of kindness on a snowy Christmas Eve. They walked together through the quiet, snow-covered streets. The twins' small hands gripping his tightly. The air was cold, but something inside him felt warm again, as if years of bitterness were slowly melting away. At his small apartment, his daughter opened the door, her eyes lighting up when she saw him. But when she noticed the woman and the twins behind him, she froze, confused. "It's okay, sweetheart," he said softly. "There are guests tonight." Without hesitation, his daughter ran to the kitchen and began setting extra plates. The little twins watched her in awe, smiling shyly as she handed them cookies. Within minutes, laughter, Something his home hadn't heard in a long time filled the air. He stood back, watching them all. The woman sat by the heater, her eyes wet with gratitude. She whispered, "I don't deserve this." He took a deep breath. "Maybe not," he said quietly, "but no one deserves to be left in the cold." Tears rolled down her cheeks. The twins leaned against him, sleepy and safe. For the first time, he realized that forgiveness wasn't weakness. It was freedom. Later that night, after the children had fallen asleep, he looked out the window. Snowflakes danced under the streetlights, painting the world white again. Clean, peaceful, renewed. Life hadn't given him much, but tonight he understood something deeper. True wealth isn't about what you have, it's about what you give. That Christmas Eve, a poor man gave warmth to someone who once broke his heart, and in doing so, healed his own. Because sometimes, the greatest miracles aren't found under a tree. They're found in the courage to forgive, to care, and to love again.